Hi, everybody. This is Maxine Taylor with another edition of Move into the Magic. And I can't wait to share today's guest with you. Some of you may have been fortunate enough to have met Angelo Lowry. That's Angelo with an O. Angelo is an incredible person. First of all, she is an Amazon #1 best-selling author. Her book is called I Am and the Spirit Walks With Me. She's the owner of the New Truth Healing Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. Those of you in Arizona may have had an opportunity to meet her. She specializes in natural healing and transformation of the mind, body, and spirit, which covers every area of life, of course. She is a 6th-generation Usui Reiki master teacher, a hypnotherapist, a vibrational sound practitioner. I know some of you are too, so your ears just perked up. She's a spiritual life coach and a cranial therapist. She does DNA imagery and communication and chakra balancing and KA channel opening and matrix healing. You can see that this is a very knowledgeable person. But when I invited her to be my guest on my show, I said, you know, people really don't care about our credentials. You live long enough, you've got a whole long list of credentials. What they want to hear is what you can do for them. So I invited her to share her success stories with us today. They are amazing. She is amazing. So, Angelo, welcome to Move Into the Magic.
Thank you. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I appreciate it. It's such a beautiful thing to be amongst everyone.
And you know what I want to do now, Angelo, is give everybody your contact information, because once you get started, I don't want to interrupt you, okay? Everybody, to get in touch with Angelo Lowry, just go to Angelo Lowry, LOWERY.com. Angelo with an O, AngeloLowry.com. And I'm going to give you her phone number because some of you are going to want to call her immediately once we go off the air. Her number is 602-344-9980. 602-344-9980. So, Angelo, you have treated people for so many issues. And you and I were talking before we went on the air, and we talked about the fact that everybody's got stress and anxiety. It's probably the #1 killer in this country.
Absolutely.
So you have worked with thousands of people. Can you pull up one example to share with us?
Sure. There's a lot of memorable moments. I had a young lady who actually came in and she spoke about all of the things that she was going through in her life. And she said to me, Angelo, I'm just a wreck. I've been dealing with this for years and I don't know what to do. So we began the session. After going through that session, she said to me, oh my God, I've never experienced anything like this before. And she goes, you know, you have a gift. She goes, what is it that you're actually doing? She said, I feel so much peace. I feel so much calmness. She said, can I just stay with you all day and hold your hand? She said, I will be just fine if you allow me to do that. So that was a very beautiful experience. And I had another gentleman as well who showed up, and he didn't know what to expect from the healing session. Once we completed that session, he looked at me and he just stared at me, and I said, are you okay? And he says, yes. He said, do you know this is what Jesus did? You're doing what Jesus did. And I said, well, thank you. And he hugged me and he said, I'm going to bring my wife back to visit with you. Yeah, yeah. So all the stress was gone, very much at peace. They spoke about how they felt very light, and everything that they were carrying, it had all left their body.
Do you find, Angelo, let me ask you this question. Do you find that you treat stress more than anything else? And or do you treat stress first and then move on to whatever their issue is?
You know, when an individual actually comes in, they'll have something specific that they want to address and deal with. And the healing itself will go wherever the healing is actually needed for that individual. So if that individual comes in and they're dealing with stress, anxiety, nervousness, they're indecisive, they're unable to make sound decisions, that one healing session, that primary healing session takes care of everything. And they notice a tremendous difference in their body. And so I always say it just takes one session. Commit to one session. You will see the difference.
Now, do people come back for more sessions? Because you're by saying all it takes is one session, do they come back for more?
Absolutely. Depending on, some people have more traumatic situations. They may have been in a car accident, and it's more severe. So there may be healing that's needed to get the body back into alignment. So that will require more sessions. But a lot of times people just need that one session. And even though they need the one session, they don't care. They just want to come back, And I say to them, why do you want to come back? You're completely healed. And they'll say, well, I don't care. I've just got to be around you, Angelo. Can I just be around you? And so they come back,
Oh, what an incredible testimonial to you and what you do. Okay, I could ask you thousands of questions, but I want to go on with some more of these amazing healings that you talked about, because that's what people want to hear. They want to know how you can help them. And I, for those of you in the audience, I've got lists of categories. So I'm gonna stop talking and let Angelo talk. Angelo, our country, our world has been plagued with variations on the same thing, which is cancer. We know that we have cancer cells in the body all the time, but sometimes they flare up and people are in great pain and need your help. Can you give us maybe one or two examples? You probably give us thousands, but of how you have, what I'll say is patients have come in with cancer symptoms and they leave asymptomatic.
Absolutely. It's just like you said, there are many cases dealing with cancer. I moved here to Scottsdale, Arizona, and there were tons of cases evolving around cancer. And so a lot of the people were actually with the cancer for a year and 2 years. And a lot of them had gone through Reiki, they had chakra and other different types of healing. And once I connected with those clients, what was very interesting to me is with those cases, there were very similar things happening. Those who had received the healing of Reiki and chakra, it was as though their bodies had not even received that particular healing. And so once I go through the process of doing the healing and beginning the session, then I noticed within that first 2 sessions, a lot of them were completely healed from the cancer, and the results were immaculate, immaculate. And the feedback that I would get from the clients in regards to their health, they would come back and they would say, look, you know, I've got positive test results back. I went in to see my doctor. My doctor said he doesn't know what the heck I'm doing, but whatever it is, to keep doing it. Prime example, I had a young lady from New Zealand. She was here in Scottsdale. She was very upset because she was going to be away from her family for a long period of time. And she came in and I said to her, have you ever had this before? And she said, well, I'm new here. And so we went through her session. We did the healing. This young lady returned back the second time and she said, Angelo, I just wanted to come and say goodbye. And I said, well, where are you going? And she said, well, I'm going back home. My doctor said I was completely healed. And she said, I thought about you. I knew it was you. And she said, thank you so much. And I never saw her again because she returned home. So very beautiful success stories, lots of testimonials regarding the healing of the cancer. I had another young lady. She was on chemo for several years, more than 6 years, and she was told that this is what she was going to have to deal with. I saw her, knew immediately that this lady would be healed from that cancer, and she had 3 visits with me, and from the 3 visits, she returned, and she told me that her numbers were extremely good, that she had never had results like that before. Very promising. And this is a lady who had fear in her because she had been carrying that cancer for so long.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, that beautiful testimonial brings up another question. Are you, because I know my audience is all over the world, and they may or may not be able to fly into Scottsdale, Arizona to see you. Do you do distance healing, say online, on Zoom or Skype, or even by phone? Do you do long distance healing?
Absolutely. I offer long distance healing via phone. I also offer long distance healing via Skype, via Zoom. Whatever's more comfortable for the client.
This is fabulous, fabulous. Let me bring up another topic because so many people can identify with stress and many cancer, but I think there are more people who smoke. Fewer nowadays because of the effects of smoking, but back when I was a kid, you could barely breathe the air because everybody smoked. I never did, but everybody around me did. So I had bronchitis on a regular basis. I had respiratory problems all the time. Can you share some encouragement with people who have been trying to quit smoking and really could use your help?
Sure. What I find is that with many people, people are discouraged and they feel that it's difficult for them to stop smoking. Many people have gone through they have gone through different types of meetings and different things to assist them with stopping from smoking and haven't had success, so they feel defeated. Yes. And I had, prime example, I had a gentleman who had been a smoker for his entire life, and he was smoking 12 packs of cigarettes a day, which was just unbelievable to me. And when I approached this gentleman and I looked at him, you could just see the toll that the smoking had taken on his skin. I mean, the body had deteriorated so much from the smoking. And I said to him, I said, you can be healed from this. And he said, well, Angelo, I am ready. He said, I am so tired. He said, I've tried to quit smoking and I've had issues doing so. I always go back to it. And he specifically mentioned to me hypnosis, that he wanted to do the hypnosis. And I said to him, you know, I can do the hypnosis with you. We can go through that. I said, however, there are underlying issues that led up to the smoking. And so we have to go to the root of this, and we have to get rid of those things first before we jump into the hypnosis. And that's one thing that's so great about the healing, is that everything that I specialize in is never done without the healing. I incorporate the healing with every single thing. This is why people will say, oh, I've had Reiki before, but I've never had it like that before. Or I've had sound therapy before, but I've never had it like this. You know, so they recognize immediately that there is something unique about that. So with the gentleman with the smoking, we went through the process of a healing session, and he showed up and we moved into the hypnosis session. Prior to that, he mentioned how his body had changed. He mentioned how he felt great, and the other issues that he had already gone away. He felt lifted. He felt more inspired, and he felt more stronger that he could keep the habit of smoking. And then we went into the session for hypnosis on the smoking, and this young man, I looked at him and I knew right then that the healing had already taken place. And it's just so much joy to see the healing and to see it working in the individual. That's what inspires me to continue the work. And this man, he went home and he returned the next day and he says, guess what, Angela? He said, I had no cravings for smoking. I didn't even desire a cigarette, you know? And he goes, that's amazing. And he said, you know, I worked, usually when I'm working, I want to smoke, but I did not want a cigarette. And he said, that's amazing to me. And his skin looked really well. The healing was just taking place, doing its own thing.
What I know people are just jotting down your name right now, Angela Lowry. I know they're doing that because either they or a relative, you know, could use some help with their smoking. I think you have to want to quit. And this man was motivated. And
absolutely.
Now, while you're talking about smoking, I was thinking how very often we have, when we go out socially, we naturally, I say we, I've never smoked, but social situations will re-trigger that. What you're saying is that the work situation, which is when this gentleman usually smoked, didn't even punch that button.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he was just amazed at the fact that the healing work incorporated with the hypnosis, you know, had such a tremendous effect. He was a non-believer. I mean, he didn't think initially that the, you know, hypnosis would work. And I said, you know, it's the healing with the hypnosis that actually works. And you want this, so it will work for you.
Oh gosh, that's fabulous. Okay, I want to move on to another topic because everybody's thinking, I hope she talks about my topic. So I want to get to as many as I possibly can. It's a large topic and it covers many, many things. When we have a problem, we experience pain, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, and in many cases it can be psychic pain, spiritual pain. And there are so many reasons for pain, but pain is a symptom. How do you deal with your clients who come in pain? Because I know you go to cause. You look to the source of the issue, and I'm sure that you've seen many causes, many bottom line issues. Of course, the first one that comes to my mind is we've forgotten who we are and we're not loving ourselves, but that's just me. How do you deal with somebody who says, I have a chronic pain in my fill in the blank?
And you're absolutely correct. There are many different forms of pain. And again, the healing can resolve that. Many people have come in. What I see is very high cases of back pain. And I give you a prime example. I had a gentleman who actually came in. This gentleman was a rancher. He had a farm, and he was not able to perform his duties any longer. He was confined to a bed. And this gentleman, he found me. He lived actually 2 hours away, and he came in. When he came into the office, he was walking slumped over. He could not completely stand up. And the look on his face, you could see the pain. And he couldn't even really get up on the table. He was moving so slow. I had to help him on the table. And so when he got onto the table, the first thing for me was that he had the pain in his low back. So I wanted to direct healing into the low back, okay? With the spine area, we have diseases and things that are housed within the low back, the spine area. And if someone has an issue and a complaint about something and they go to a doctor and the doctor says, oh, well, we don't see anything wrong, there's not an issue, their last resort is to send you in for a spinal tap. Why do they do that? They do that because the fluid located within the spine will show if you have any types of diseases. So that particular area, if I unlock energy in that area, it gives the body extra healing. And so that's the main thing that I want to unlock, because now the healing process is now intensified, okay? And so this particular gentleman, once we completed that healing process, he showed back up the next week for his second visit. And this guy comes in and he leaps up on the table, and I'm going, whoa, wait a minute. You know, my back was turned and I heard him, and I'm going, be careful. You know, I don't want you to fall on the floor. And he goes, Angelo, you have no idea. I feel so fantastic. He said, I'm lifting bales of hay. He said, you don't know what that means for me to throw a bale of hay. And then he had some friends of his called in, and they said, you've been treating our friend and he's doing awesome. You don't understand. This is a guy that was confined to bed. We saw him in pain, and now he's throwing bales of hay. He's traveling. He's doing all these great things. We want some of that great energy. So it's really amazing, you know, to see that transformation. His smile returned on his face, you know, and he just wanted to return back to a natural way of living. And it just meant everything for this gentleman to be able to farm and do the things he needed to do. Going through that process of having that pain, he was limited to what he could actually do, which actually brought on stress. It brought on other issues for him. And so we were able to resolve those things, and he's doing wonderful, wonderful.
Oh my word. That's, well, so many people can identify with that, because pain is a signal. Something is not functioning. Something
Absolutely.
is balance. There is another category that I wanted to tap into when you were talking about smoking. It goes hand in hand with it, and that's drinking. Now, a lot of people have an issue with alcohol, and we know it's an addiction, as is smoking. Can you give us an example?
Sure. My most memorable case when it comes to drinking was a gentleman who showed up. He was in his early 30s, and this gentleman had been drinking for 25 years. and he got in trouble with the law. He got so drunk that he ran into a police car, and so many things took place. But he went through the healing session with me, and after one healing session and going through, he actually was alcohol free. And he goes, oh my God, you did something that AA couldn't do, detox couldn't do. And he goes, my family thinks I'm drinking, but I'm completely sober. He said they keep looking for the alcohol. He said, and I tell them there's none there. I'm completely healed. So definitely that was an amazing story for me.
I think it's an amazing story for anybody who is addicted to alcohol or lives with someone who is addicted. I know that you have so many stories to share, and I know that you have them in your book, which I think is going to be an awesome instructional manual for people. The book, I Am, and the Spirit Walks with Me. Angelo, thank you so much for being my guest today. You are a joy. You are a light on this planet. And I hope you'll come back and do more shows with me so that you can lift our planet with your incredible divine healing ability. And I know that everybody out there has enjoyed this show. I hope you'll join me again next time when once again we move into the magic. Until then, keep in mind that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Bye for now.